Kex stood in the grand hall of the Galactic Coalition Assembly and tried not to show fear. The assignment crystal in his three-fingered hand felt heavy, too heavy. Around him, beings from 100 different worlds moved through the space, their forms strange and beautiful. But Kex could only think about the words glowing inside the crystal. Observer. Human military operations. War zone. His supervisor had explained it simply. The humans were new to space. They had only left their home world 80 years ago. Now they were fighting a war against the Kraith Dominion, and the Coalition needed to understand how these newcomers handled conflict. Kex's people, the Velans, had never fought a war. They solved problems with words and patience. The idea of organized violence made Kex's skin change color with stress, flashing pale blue instead of its normal deep purple. "Observer Kex?" A voice spoke in perfect Velan. Kex turned and saw a human for the first time in person. The being was tall, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to measure everything. She wore formal clothing in black and white, with a small pin on her chest showing Earth's blue and green colors. "I am Ambassador Hyun," the human said, smiling. "Welcome. We're honored to have you document our operations." Kex's translator device worked perfectly, but something in the human's tone confused him. Honored? Most species hated observers watching their military. It made them look weak or exposed their secrets, but this human seemed genuinely happy about it. "Thank you, Ambassador," Kex managed to say. "I will try to stay out of your way." "Nonsense," Hyun said, her smile growing wider. "We want you to see everything. Transparency builds trust, yes? Captain Tay will escort you to our forward base. He's waiting at docking port 7. "Everything?" Kex felt his skin flash pale blue again. Hyun noticed. "Are you unwell?" she asked, concern in her voice. "I am nervous," Kex admitted. "I have never been near combat before." Hyun's face softened. "You'll be safe. We protect our observers. Captain Tay is one of our best." She walked away, leaving Kex to find docking port 7. The human had seemed kind, almost too kind. Kex had read the reports. Humans were supposed to be aggressive, quick to anger, violent by nature. But Ambassador Hyun had been warm and welcoming. Perhaps the reports were wrong. Captain Tay was not what Kex expected either. The human was young, maybe 30 Earth years, with short black hair and an easy posture. He wore a dark blue uniform with patches and symbols that meant nothing to Kex. When he saw the Velan approaching, he straightened and offered his hand. "Observer Kex, good to meet you. I'm Captain Tay. Ready for the ride?" Kex stared at the hand. His database said this was a human greeting. He reached out and let Tay shake his 3 fingers. The human's grip was firm but gentle. "I am ready," Kex said, though he was not sure that was true. The transport ship was smaller than Kex expected. Inside, 20 human soldiers sat in 2 rows checking weapons and equipment. When Tay and Kex entered, they all looked up. Several smiled, one waved. "Everyone, this is Observer Kex," Tay announced. "He'll be watching us work. Treat him like family." The soldiers called out greetings. Kex's translator struggled with some of the phrases. "What's up? Hey there. Welcome to the party." Party? Kex thought. They are going to a war zone. He took a seat next to Tay as the ship lifted off. Through the window, the assembly station grew smaller. Soon they were jumping through space, the stars stretching into lines. Kex watched the soldiers. They did not look afraid. They talked and laughed. 2 were playing some kind of game on a data pad. Another was eating something that smelled sweet. One soldier, noticing Kex's stare, held up a wrapped bar. "Want one? It's chocolate. Well, synthetic chocolate, but still good." "No, thank you," Kex said quietly. Captain Tay leaned closer. "You look worried, Observer. First time in space combat?" "First time near any combat," Kex said. My people do not fight wars. Really? Never. Tay seemed genuinely surprised. How do you handle disputes? We talk, we negotiate, we wait until both sides can agree. Huh. Tay nodded slowly. That sounds nice. Peaceful. You do not have peace? Kex asked. Tay laughed, but it was not a mean sound. We're working on it. We've gotten better. A few hundred years ago, we were fighting each other all the time. Now we mostly fight together. A few hundred years seemed like a very short time to Kex. His people had been peaceful for 10,000 years. The ship shook slightly as it dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Ahead, a massive structure floated in space. It looked nothing like the beautiful Coalition stations. This was all hard angles and gray metal. Weapons bristled from every surface. Ships moved around it like insects around a nest. Firebase Ganymede, Tay said. Home sweet home. Not pretty, but it gets the job done. The ship docked with a heavy clang. The soldiers stood up, grabbing their gear. They moved with practiced ease, each knowing exactly what to do. Kex followed Tay out into the station. The inside was as ugly as the outside. Plain metal walls, harsh lights, everything built for function, nothing for beauty. Humans in uniform walked past in groups, all moving with purpose. The air smelled strange to Kex. Metal and something chemical, and underneath it all, something else he could not name. Tay led him through corridors to a small room. Your quarters. Not fancy, but private. You can rest here between observations. Thank you, Captain. Call me Tay. We're not formal out here. He checked a device on his wrist. I need to report to Commander Hana. You should settle in. Mess hall is 2 doors down if you get hungry. Just ask anyone if you need help. He left, and Kex was alone. The room had a bed, a desk, and a window showing space. He sat on the bed and tried to calm himself. Through the walls, he could hear voices, humans talking, some laughing, music played somewhere. Kex pulled out his recording device and began his first log entry. Day 1. The humans are not what I expected. They seem relaxed, happy even. Either they do not understand the danger they are in, or they do not care. I cannot tell which is more disturbing. Their military base is crude but functional. Everything is built for war, nothing wasted on comfort. Tomorrow I will begin observing their operations. I admit I am frightened, but the humans have been kind. Perhaps this will not be as bad as I fear. He stopped recording and looked out the window. In the distance, he could see ships on patrol. Even further out, the darkness of space held unknown threats. The Kraith were out there somewhere, and soon Kex would see what happened when they met humans in battle. He heard voices in the corridor, 2 soldiers walking past, talking casually. So I told him, if we're going to take that position, we'll need at least 3 demo charges and someone crazy enough to place them. And he volunteered you? Of course he did. They both laughed and kept walking. Kex felt his skin turn pale blue again. They were talking about demolition charges and dangerous positions like it was a joke, like it was normal. For the first time, Kex wondered if he had made a terrible mistake in accepting this assignment. Lieutenant Gina was not what Kex imagined a soldier would look like. She was small for a human with her black hair tied back tightly. Her uniform was worn in places, and she had a scar across her left eyebrow. When Commander Hana introduced them, Gina simply nodded. Observer Kex will accompany your unit on the next recon mission, Hana said. She was older than Gina, with gray streaks in her hair and more symbols on her uniform. Keep him safe. Understood, Commander. Gina looked at Kex with dark eyes. Can you run? Yes? Kex was not sure how to answer. Good enough. Stay close to me or Private Sung. Do what we say when we say it. Questions later. Got it? Kex nodded quickly. His skin flashed pale blue. Gina's expression softened slightly. Hey, you'll be fine. We've done this 100 times. That was 2 days ago. Now Kex stood in the briefing room with Gina's squad of 8 soldiers. On the screen, a planet rotated slowly. It looked beautiful, green and blue with white clouds. New Haven Colony, Hana said, pointing at the screen. Population 3,000, mining and agriculture. The Kraith have 3 ships in system and are moving toward the planet. They'll arrive in 6 hours. Kex felt his hearts beat faster. 3,000 humans. He waited for Hana to give the evacuation order. We're deploying Lieutenant Gina's squad along with 4 others to defensive positions around the main settlement, Hana continued. Air support will be limited. Naval assets are tied up in the Kepler sector. Questions? A soldier raised his hand. Rules of engagement? Protect the colonists. Hold the settlement. The Kraith want the mines. Don't let them have it. Kex could not stay quiet. Excuse me, Commander? Should the colonists not evacuate? Every human in the room turned to look at him. Hana's face was patient. Where would they go, Observer? There's 1 transport ship in system. It can carry maybe 200 people, and the Kraith would just shoot it down anyway. But you cannot fight 3 ships with a few squads of soldiers. Hana smiled. It was not a happy smile. Watch us. 2 hours later, Kex was on a shuttle descending to New Haven. He sat next to Private Sung, who was younger than Gina, maybe 20 Earth years. Sung had been checking his weapon repeatedly, a nervous habit Kex recognized from his research. First combat drop? Sung asked. First time on a combat planet, Kex admitted. You picked a good one. New Haven's nice. I visited last year during leave. Sung looked out the window as the planet grew larger. Good people down there. They make this amazing fruit pie. Kex stared at him. The Kraith were coming, and this human was thinking about pie. The shuttle landed hard. Gina's voice cut through the cargo bay. Move! Defensive positions! Kex, with me! They ran. Kex tried to keep up as the humans sprinted across the settlement. Colonists were everywhere, some moving supplies, others heading to shelters. Children watched with wide eyes as the soldiers passed. No one was screaming or panicking. Everyone just moved with purpose. Gina led them to a cluster of buildings on the settlement's eastern edge. This is our line. Sung, take Kex to position 3. Observer, you stay with Sung in the bunker. You watch from there. Do not leave unless we're pulling back. And if you pull back, Kex asked, then you run with us. Gina was already moving to the next position. Sung brought Kex to a reinforced bunker built into the ground. Inside, 2 other soldiers were setting up weapons. The bunker had narrow windows facing east, toward open ground and forest beyond. They'll come through there, Sung explained, pointing at the forest. Probably try to flank around south, but we've got mines and sensors. They'll have to come straight at us or go way around. Kex activated his recording device. His hands shook. 4 hours passed. Kex watched the soldiers. They did not look nervous. Sung ate something from a ration pack. The other soldiers talked quietly about sports scores from a recent game. One took a short nap. Then the alarms sounded. Contact! Someone yelled over the radio. Kraith dropships! Multiple contacts! Sung moved to the window, weapon ready. Here we go! Kex watched through the bunker window. 3 large ships descended from the sky, dark shapes against the sunset. They landed just beyond the forest. Kex's database showed him their specifications. Each ship carried 60 Kraith soldiers, 180 total against maybe 40 human defenders. The Kraith emerged. They were tall, insectoid creatures with 4 arms and armored bodies. They carried advanced weapons that Kex's scanner said were far superior to human firearms. They moved in formation, disciplined, and organized. They're not messing around, Sung muttered. Full combat load. The Kraith advanced toward the settlement. They reached the forest edge. Then the mines exploded. The sound was deafening. Kex covered his ear holes as fire bloomed across the tree line. The Kraith formation scattered, confused. More explosions followed. The humans had filled the forest with traps. Now! Gina's voice on the radio. The humans opened fire. From every building, every bunker, weapons spoke. The Kraith returned fire, and suddenly the world became noise and light and chaos. Kex pressed himself against the bunker wall, his recording device forgotten. Sung fired in controlled bursts. "Stay down, observer!" Energy weapons hit the bunker's exterior. The impacts shook the structure. Kex saw a Kraith soldier fall, then another. But more kept coming. They had numbers and better weapons. They would overwhelm the humans. Except the humans did not fight fair. Kex watched through his fear as the humans used every trick. They fired from one position, then moved before the Kraith could target them. They used smoke and mirrors and sounds to confuse the enemy. One soldier ran across open ground, drawing fire, while 3 others flanked the Kraith from a new angle. The Kraith tried to adapt, but the humans changed tactics faster. When the Kraith pushed forward, the humans fell back to new positions. When the Kraith tried to flank, they found more mines. When the Kraith grouped together, human explosives scattered them. Sung laughed. Actually laughed. "They're getting mad now. Watch!" The Kraith commander, frustrated by the chaos, ordered a direct charge at the human center. Exactly what Gina had predicted. The humans let them come, retreating to stronger positions. The Kraith followed, thinking they were winning. They walked into a kill zone. Crossfire from 3 directions cut down the Kraith advance. The survivors retreated to the forest, regrouping. They had lost maybe 40 soldiers in 20 minutes. The humans had lost none. Kex could not breathe properly. His biology was not designed for this level of stress. The Kraith tried twice more. Each time the humans predicted their moves and countered. Each time more Kraith fell. The human defenders seemed to know what the enemy would do before they did it. Finally, after 2 hours, the Kraith ships lifted off and left the planet. They abandoned their dead and retreated into space. "Cease fire!" Gina's voice. "All positions report!" One by one, the squads reported in. Some injuries. No deaths. The settlement was secure. Sung lowered his weapon and looked at Kex. "You okay, observer?" Kex could not speak. He just stared at the battlefield, at the Kraith bodies, at the humans calmly checking their equipment and laughing about close calls. Gina entered the bunker. "Observer Kex, you need medical attention?" How?" Kex finally managed. "They had more soldiers, better weapons. How did you win?" Gina smiled. "We've been fighting for a long time, observer. Humans learn fast. The Kraith fight by the book. We threw away the book a long time ago." That night, Kex sat in his temporary quarters on New Haven and tried to write his report to the Coalition. His hands still shook. "The humans won today," he recorded. "Against superior numbers and technology, they won. They did not win through courage or luck. They won through experience and adaptation. They fight like—" He paused, searching for the right words. "They fight like cornered predators. Every move calculated to survive. Every tactic designed to confuse and destroy. The Kraith fight for conquest. The humans fight for survival. There is a difference. A terrible difference." He stopped recording and looked out the window. In the settlement square, the humans were celebrating. Music played. People danced. Like the battle had never happened. Kex realized something that made his skin turn white with fear. The humans were not scared because they had done this before. Many times. And they expected to do it many more times. War was not new to them. It was not strange or terrible. It was normal. Kex returned to Firebase Ganymede changed. He could not stop thinking about the battle, about how easily the humans had won, about how normal they treated it all. He requested a meeting with someone who could explain human military thinking. They sent him Dr. Mina. She was older, with gray hair and kind eyes behind thin glasses. She wore civilian clothes, not a uniform. When she entered the small conference room, she carried a data pad and a cup of something hot that smelled pleasant. "Observer Kex, I'm Dr. Mina. I study alien species for the military, but I also teach human history. Commander Hanna said you had questions about how we fight?" I do not understand, Kex said simply. Your people are new to space. You have only left your world for 80 years, but you fight like you have been doing this forever. Mina sat down and smiled sadly. That's because we have been. Just not in space. She activated the data pad and pushed it toward Kex. Images appeared. Humans in ancient armor, humans with primitive weapons, humans on battlefields across thousands of years. We have been fighting since before we had written language, Mina said quietly. For most of our history, we fought each other, kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation, ideology against ideology. We had wars that lasted 100 years. We had wars that killed millions. We got very, very good at it. Kex scrolled through the images. His skin flashed colors he did not know he could make. This is your own people killing each other? Yes, for resources, for land, for beliefs, for revenge, sometimes just because we forgot why we started fighting. Mina took a sip from her cup. It's not something we're proud of, but it's who we were. Were. We stopped fighting each other about 90 years ago. Mostly. Small conflicts still happen, but nothing like before. First contact with alien species changed everything. We realized we needed to work together. We had a common purpose, survival in a bigger universe. Kex looked at more images. Machines of war, cities destroyed, weapons that could kill thousands at once. How did your species survive? Barely. We came very close to destroying ourselves several times, but we learned. Every war taught us something. Every defeat made us smarter. Every victory showed us new possibilities. Mina leaned forward. Observer, do you know how many distinct wars humanity has fought in recorded history? Kex shook his head. Over 15,000. Major conflicts, not counting smaller ones. 15,000 different wars, each with different conditions, different enemies, different solutions. We learned from all of them. The number made Kex feel ill. 15,000. Every human soldier studies military history. They learn about ancient battles and modern ones. They run simulations of historical conflicts. A human lieutenant like Gina has experienced thousands of battles in training. Not real battles, but detailed simulations based on real events. She knows how the Romans fought, how the Mongols conquered, how the rebels defeated empires, how guerrilla forces beat superior armies. Kex's minds reeled. So when the Kraith attacked New Haven, Gina had already fought that battle 100 different ways in her head. She knew what would work. She had studied every defense in human history and adapted the best parts. Mina's voice was gentle but firm. We don't have better technology than most species, but we have something more dangerous. We have experience, real hard-earned knowledge of war. But the other species in the coalition, Kex said weakly, they have military forces too. Yes, but most species had 1 or 2 wars in their entire history before joining the coalition. They learned the basics and stopped. The coalition brought peace, so they had no reason to keep studying warfare. Why would they? Mina gestured at the data pad. Humans spent thousands of years doing nothing but fighting and learning from it. It's built into our culture, our literature, our games. Our children play at being soldiers. Our stories are full of battles and warriors. Kex thought he might be sick. His species played games about building and creating. Human children played war. I need to see more, he heard himself say. Over the next week, Kex observed Major Wu's Special Operations Unit. Major Wu was quiet, with scars on his hands and a calm that Kex found unnerving. His team consisted of 12 soldiers who moved like shadows. We're hitting a Kraith listening post, Wu explained in the briefing. It's on an asteroid in the Vega system, heavily defended, 60 Kraith soldiers, automated defenses, shields. We go in, destroy their equipment, get out. Observer Kex will watch from the command shuttle. Kex watched the operation through cameras on the soldiers' helmets. What he saw defied belief. The team approached the asteroid using debris as cover. They moved without speaking, using hand signals. When they reached the surface, Corporal Day planted explosives in patterns Kex's scanner said violated 3 different coalition safety protocols. Too much explosive, too close together, too unstable. "Corporal Day," Kex said over the radio. "Those charges, the safety margins." Day's voice came back cheerful. "Oh, we're way past safety margins, Observer. We're going for maximum effect." They infiltrated the base through a maintenance tunnel that the Kraith had not bothered to guard properly. Inside, the team split into 3 groups. They moved through the base like they had been there before, even though the layout was new. "Major," Kex asked, "how do you know where to go?" "Experience," Wu replied calmly. "We've raided 100 bases like this. Different species. Same basic design. Everyone puts power cores in the center. Everyone puts defenses facing outward. Everyone forgets to guard the boring parts." The team reached the communication center. The Kraith detected them and opened fire. The humans did not panic. They executed a plan that Wu had briefed in under 5 minutes, each soldier knowing exactly what to do. Smoke filled the corridors. The humans used the confusion to strike from unexpected angles. They disabled the automated defenses by targeting the control nodes. They herded the Kraith into kill zones. When the Kraith tried to adapt, the humans changed tactics. Kex watched Corporal Day plant his explosives in the communication equipment. The Kraith tried to stop him. Private Sung and 2 others held them off in a firefight that should have been suicide. Except the humans used the narrow corridor to their advantage, forcing the Kraith to come at them one at a time. "Charges set," Day yelled. 30 seconds! The team extracted through a route they had scouted on the way in. They made it to their shuttle with 5 seconds to spare. The asteroid lit up like a small sun as the explosives detonated. The listening post was gone. 0 human casualties. Every objective complete. On the flight back, Kex found Major Wu in the shuttle's small galley, making tea. "How?" Kex asked. "How do you make it look so easy?" Wu poured hot water over tea leaves. "It's not easy. It just looks that way because we practice. Every soldier on my team has run hundreds of similar missions in simulation. We study what works. We learn from mistakes. We prepare for every possibility. But you cannot prepare for everything." "No, but we can prepare for most things, and we're good at adapting when something new happens." Wu handed Kex a cup of tea. "Here, try this. It's from Earth. Helps calm the nerves." Kex took the cup with shaking hands. "Major Wu, does it ever bother you? The violence? The destruction?" Wu was quiet for a long moment. "Yes, every time. But we're not fighting for fun, Observer. We're fighting because the Kraith won't stop taking colonies, won't stop killing. Someone has to stand up to them. Better us than species who don't know how." That night, Kex worked on his second report to the Coalition. He had filled 3 data crystals with observations and recordings. He tried to find the right words. "The humans have weaponized their own history," he recorded. "Every war they ever fought, every battle they ever lost, every victory they ever won. They learned from all of it. They built their entire military philosophy on thousands of years of conflict. Other species learn war. Humans were born into it. They grew up with it. They perfected it." He paused, trying to control his fear. "I watched them infiltrate a heavily defended base and destroy it with minimal casualties. They made it look routine, easy. But it was not easy. It was the result of endless training and experience. Every human soldier is a veteran of thousands of simulated battles. They know tactics from 100 different eras and cultures. They adapt faster than any species I have ever studied." Kex stopped recording and looked at his 3-fingered hands. They were still shaking. He thought about Private Sung, who was kind and talked about pie. About Lieutenant Gina, who smiled and protected her people. About Dr. Mina, who taught with patience and understanding. About Major Wu, who made tea and questioned the violence even as he executed it perfectly. They were good people. kind people, but they were also the most dangerous beings Kex had ever encountered. And they were trying so hard to be civilized. The alarm woke Kex from restless sleep. Red lights flashed in his quarters. The station's automated voice spoke calmly. "All personnel to battle stations. This is not a drill." Kex grabbed his observer badge and recording equipment and ran into the corridor. Human soldiers moved past him with practiced efficiency. No panic, no shouting, just rapid, organized movement. "Observer Kex," Captain Tay appeared beside him. "With me? You'll want to see this." They reached the command center, a large room filled with screens and stations where humans monitored space around the fire base. Commander Hana stood at the center, talking rapidly into a communication device. When she saw Kex, she gestured him over. "Observer, you asked to see everything. Well, here it is." She pointed at the main screen. Kex's heart stopped. 3 Kraith battle fleets filled the display. Dozens of ships, maybe hundreds. His scanner tried to count and gave up, all converging on one point in space where a single human battle group waited. 1 human carrier and 6 escort ships. "They're outnumbered," Kex whispered. "At least 3 to 1. 4 to 1 by ship count," Hana corrected. 5 to 1 by total tonnage. The Kraith are committing everything to this attack. You must retreat." "Can't. There's a colony world behind us. If we retreat, the Kraith take it. 3 million people live there." Hana's voice was steady. "Admiral Rena is in command of the battle group. She's one of our best." Kex watched the screen as the Kraith fleets advanced in formation. Perfect military precision. They spread out to prevent the humans from escaping. It was a textbook encirclement. The humans were trapped. "This is a massacre waiting to happen," Kex said. He felt his skin turning white with terror. "You cannot win this." Hana glanced at him. Something flickered in her eyes. Was it amusement? "Watch," she said simply. On the screen, Admiral Rena's battle group began to move. They did not retreat. They advanced toward the largest Kraith fleet, directly at it. Kex could not understand the tactic. It was suicide. The Kraith opened fire first. Energy weapons lit up space. The human ships took hits but kept coming. They returned fire, and Kex saw Kraith ships take damage. But the math was wrong. The humans could not trade shots with this many enemies, except they were not trying to. Captain Jay's voice came over the command center speakers. He was the tactical officer on the human flagship. "Phase 1 complete. They're committed to the engagement. Admiral, your timing is perfect." "Execute Phase 2, Admiral Rena's voice responded. The human battle group suddenly broke formation. Each ship went a different direction, moving at maximum speed. The Kraith fleets focused on the attack, tried to adjust. They broke their own formations to pursue, exactly as the humans wanted. "Now," Rena's voice was calm. From behind nearby asteroids, 30 human ships appeared. They had been hiding, dark and silent. The Kraith had never detected them. These new ships slammed into the Kraith fleets from the sides, where their shields were weakest. The Kraith formation collapsed into chaos. Kex stared at the screen. You planned this?" "3 weeks ago," Hana said, watching the battle unfold. "Admiral Rena predicted the Kraith would mass their forces for one major push. She prepared for it. Those ships have been in position for 5 days, waiting." On the screen, the battle became a deadly dance. The human ships moved in coordinated patterns that Kex's military database recognized from ancient naval battles. Earth naval battles from before spaceflight. The Kraith were fighting a space battle. The humans were fighting like ancient sea captains. And it worked. Every time a Kraith commander tried to regroup, human ships anticipated and disrupted the formation. Every attempted flanking maneuver met prepared defenses. Every Kraith advance walked into coordinated crossfire. Kex watched for 6 hours as the humans slowly, methodically, destroyed 2 entire Kraith fleets. The Third Fleet, seeing the disaster, retreated. The humans let them go. When the battle ended, Kex could barely process what he had seen. The humans had won. Against overwhelming numbers, they had won decisively. "How many ships did you lose?" Kex asked weakly. "2," Hana replied. "Both crews evacuated safely." 2, out of 37, against more than 100 Kraith vessels. Captain Tay brought Kex to meet with Captain J after the battle. J was young for his rank, with tired eyes and hands that moved constantly, as if still working controls that were not there. "Observer Kex," J said, offering his hand. Kex shook it numbly. "I heard you witnessed the engagement. Quite a show, yes?" "I do not understand," Kex said. The words came out broken. "Everything. Every move. It was planned?" "Not everything. The Kraith made choices we couldn't predict. But Admiral Rena prepared battle plans for 43 different scenarios. What the Kraith did fell into Scenario 12. We adjusted and executed." Jay pulled up tactical displays on a screen. "See here? When their second fleet tried to flank left, we were ready because that was their most logical move given their position. And here, when they grouped their carriers, we had already positioned ships to exploit that mistake." Kex looked at the tactical maps, at the complexity, at the layers of planning and contingency. "Captain J," Kex's voice shook, "how long have you been fighting this war?" "Against the Kraith? 3 years." "And you? You could have won already? Faster?" Jay was quiet for a moment. His expression changed, became careful. "Why do you ask that, Observer?" "Because I have watched you fight. I have seen your tactics, your adaptability, your experience." Kex felt something like anger break through his fear. "You are too good at this. You win too easily. This battle, New Haven, the listening post, every engagement I have witnessed. You make it look effortless, but it is not. You are holding back." Jay exchanged a glance with Captain Tay, who had stayed silent in the corner. "Observer Kex," Jay said slowly, "what makes you think we're holding back?" "Everything." Kex's skin flashed colors rapidly. "Your weapons are less advanced than you could make them. Your tactics, while effective, are not your most devastating. I have accessed your military database. I have seen the weapons research, the theoretical studies, the simulations." He pulled up files on his datapad, files he had been given clearance to view. Planet crackers, stellar detonators, artificial intelligence warfare systems, biological weapons that could wipe out entire species. You have all of this, designed, tested in simulation, ready to build. Why do you not use them?" The room went very quiet. "Because the Coalition banned them," Jay said finally. "And we want to join the Coalition. We want to be part of galactic civilization. So we fight by Coalition rules. But you could win in months if you use these weapons. Instead, you have been fighting for years." "Yes." Jay's voice was flat, honest. "We could end this war very quickly. We choose not to." Kex sat down. His legs would not hold him anymore. "Why?" "Because we're trying to be better than we were," Tay spoke up from the corner. "Humanity's history is full of atrocities, Observer. Wars where we used every weapon we had, no matter how terrible. It nearly destroyed us. We don't want to be that species anymore." "But the Kraith," Kex protested. "They attack your colonies, kill your people." "They do," Jay agreed. "And we stop them. We defend our people. We win our battles. But we do it without becoming monsters. The Coalition banned certain weapons for good reasons. We respect that, even when it makes things harder for us." Kex looked at these humans, these soldiers who could end their war with weapons of mass destruction, but chose the harder path, who fought with one hand tied behind their backs to prove they could be civilized. "You are pretending," Kex said. The realization hit him like cold water. "All of this, the whole war, you are pretending to be students of warfare when you are the masters." Neither human denied it. "We're doing our best," Tay said quietly. "It's not perfect, but we're trying." Kex stood up on shaking legs. "I need to send a report to the Coalition, immediately." "Of course," Jay said. "You have access to secure communications. Say whatever you need to say." Kex left the room and walked to the communications center. His mind raced. He had been sent to observe humans at war, to document how these newcomers handled conflict. He had discovered something far more terrifying. The humans were not newcomers to war. They were experts, possibly the greatest experts in the galaxy. And they were playing by rules they did not need to follow, fighting with weapons they chose not to use, winning battles they could have ended much faster. They were dangerous not because they were violent. They were dangerous because they knew exactly how violent they could be and chose restraint. The emergency meeting happened 3 days after the Great Battle. Kex sat in a secure room with General Nari, the supreme commander of all human forces in the sector. She was older than anyone Kex had met, with white hair and a face that had seen too much. Ambassador Hyun was there too, looking worried. "Observer Kex," General Nari said, her voice like stone. "You've sent preliminary reports to the Coalition, reports that reveal a great deal about our capabilities." "I was assigned to observe and report truthfully," Kex said. His fear was gone now, replaced by something else. Purpose. "I have done so." "Yes, and now the Coalition Council has sent us new instructions." Nari activated a screen. The Coalition's official seal appeared. "They're ordering us to negotiate with the Kraith, to seek peace, to avoid further escalation." "That sounds reasonable," Kex said carefully. "It would be. Except the Kraith just received reinforcements. They know the Coalition wants us to stand down, so they've issued an ultimatum." Nari's eyes were hard. "Surrender all colonies in disputed space, or they attack Earth itself." Kex felt his skin flash white. "Earth? Your home world?" "Yes, they're calling our bluff. They think we won't fight if they threaten our cradle world. They think we value Coalition approval more than we value our home." Nari leaned forward. "The Coalition agrees with them. The Council has sent orders that we must negotiate, that we must avoid escalation, that we must not use excessive force." "What will you do?" Nari looked at him for a long moment. "I'm going to ask you a question, Observer. What would your people do if someone threatened to destroy your home world?" Kex thought about it. Really thought. The Velen had never faced such a threat. They had no experience with existential danger. I do not know." "Think about it," Nari pressed. "Your home, every place you've ever known, every person you've ever loved, all of it under threat from an enemy who has already killed your people in other places. What would you do?" Kex imagined it. His world burning, his family dying, the rage and terror that would follow. "I would want them stopped," he whispered. "By any means necessary." "By any means necessary," Nari repeated. "Yes. That's how humans feel about Earth." She stood up and walked to the window overlooking the firebase hangar. Hundreds of ships were being prepared for launch. "The Coalition wants us to be civilized, to follow their rules. We've tried. For 3 years, we've fought with restraint. We've followed every protocol. We've proven we can fight smart and win fair." Her voice went cold. "But the moment someone threatens Earth, the rules change." "You are going to reject the Coalition's orders," Kex said. "We're going to end this war," Nari replied. "Quickly, completely, the way we could have done 3 years ago." Ambassador Hyun spoke for the first time. "Observer Kex, we wanted you to know because we respect you. You've been honest with us. We'll be honest with you. In 72 hours, the Kraith Dominion will cease to be a threat to anyone. How we achieve that, you may not want to watch." Keck stood up. I was sent to observe humans at war. I will finish my assignment. The next 2 days were a blur of activity. Keck watched as human fleets mobilized. Not just the ships he had seen before. Ships from everywhere. From Earth. From colonies. From secret construction yards. The humans had been building a force while fighting their limited war. Hundreds of vessels appeared, many using technology Keck had not seen before. Private Sung found him in the observation deck. The young soldier looked different, harder. Observer, you should know a lot of us are being deployed for this. The whole military is mobilizing. I wanted to say, it was nice having you with us. You never got in the way. You tried to understand. Private Sung, Keck said. What is going to happen? Sung looked out at the gathering fleet. We're going to make sure the Kraith never threaten anyone again. That's all I can say. The human offensive began at Euro 600 on the 3rd day. Keck watched from Firebase Ganymede as the fleet jumped to Kraith space. He had access to all military channels now. General Nari had authorized complete transparency for his final report. What he witnessed made his previous observations look like minor skirmishes. The humans did not attack one target. They attacked everywhere, simultaneously. Every Kraith military installation, every fleet base, every command center. The attacks were coordinated across dozens of systems, executed with perfect timing. The Kraith tried to defend. They had numbers and weapons and strong positions. It did not matter. The humans were not playing anymore. Keck saw weapons he had only read about in the research files, ships that could disable entire fleets with electromagnetic pulses, missiles that could track targets through faster-than-light jumps, drones that operated with frightening intelligence, adapting to Kraith defenses in real time. He watched as human special forces units infiltrated Kraith command ships and seized control, as human cyber warfare shut down Kraith communications across half their empire, as human strategic planning, perfected over thousands of years of warfare, fell on an enemy that had never faced anything like it. The Kraith fought back. They were brave. They were determined. They were doomed. In 5 days, the Kraith lost control of their military infrastructure. In 10 days, their government was in chaos. In 17 days, the Kraith dominion surrendered unconditionally. 17 days. A war that had lasted 3 years ended in 17 days when humans stopped restraining themselves. Keck sat in his quarters and tried to process what he had witnessed. The door chimed. Ambassador Hyun entered, looking exhausted. Observer Kex, may I sit? Kex gestured to a chair. Hyun sat down heavily. The coalition is in an uproar, she said quietly. They're demanding explanations, calling our tactics excessive. Some want to sanction us. She smiled without humor. Others are terrified. They should be, Keck said. His voice sounded hollow to his own ears. Yes, that's why I'm here. Hyun looked at him directly. We let you witness all of this for a reason, not just to document our operations, to be our voice to the coalition. I do not understand. You're from a peaceful species, respected in the coalition. When you tell them what you saw, they'll believe you. Hyun leaned forward. We need you to help them understand. We're not trying to conquer anyone. We're not trying to dominate the galaxy. We're trying to join galactic civilization. But we need them to understand what we are, what we're capable of, so they never push us into a corner. Kex thought about everything he had seen, the kindness and the violence, the restraint and the devastation. You showed me your best and your worst, he said slowly. You wanted me to see both. Yes, we wanted honesty. We're trying to be better than we were. But if someone threatens our home, threatens our people, we will respond with everything we have. The coalition needs to know that, not as a threat, as a fact. She stood to leave, then paused. One more thing. You'll be pleased to know Private Sung made it through the offensive safely. He asked about you, wanted to make sure you were okay. After she left, Kex sat in silence for a long time. Then he began his final report. To the Coalition Council, he recorded, I have completed my observation of human military operations. I have witnessed their capabilities, their tactics, and their philosophy of war. I must now make my recommendation. Humanity must be granted full coalition membership immediately, not as a reward, as a necessity. The humans are the most dangerous military force I have encountered. They have experience in warfare that spans millennia. They have weapons that could devastate worlds. They have strategic thinking that surpasses any current coalition species. They can win wars in weeks that would take others years. But here is what the Council must understand. They have been restraining themselves. For 3 years they fought a limited war while having the capability to end it quickly. They followed coalition protocols even when it cost them lives. They tried to be civilized. When pushed too far, when their home was threatened, they showed what they truly are, and they won decisively. If we accept them into the coalition, they will be powerful allies. They will defend us with skills we do not possess. They will bring knowledge of warfare that could protect all of us. If we reject them, if we make them outsiders, if we treat them as enemies, I have seen what they do to enemies. I make this recommendation not from admiration, but from fear. Educated, respectful fear. The humans are trying to be better than their history. We should help them succeed, because the alternative is making them choose between civilization and survival. And I have learned that humans will always choose survival. Kex stopped recording. His hands no longer shook. He felt different, changed by what he had witnessed. A week later, he prepared to return home. Private Sung came to see him off. Heard you're leaving, Observer, going back to your people. Yes? I have much to report. Kex looked at the young human who had protected him, talked to him about Pi, fought beside him. Private Sung, will your people find peace now? Sung smiled. I hope so. War it's what we're good at, but it's not what we want. We want to explore, to learn, to be part of something bigger. His smile faded. We just needed everyone to understand that we can defend ourselves, that we won't be pushed around. I will tell them, Kex promised. I will make them understand. On the transport home, Kex watched the stars and thought about his time with humans, about their contradictions, their violence and their kindness, their terrible history and their hopeful future. He had been told to witness humans at war. Now he wished he had never arrived, not because of what they had done, but because now he knew. Now he understood, and understanding meant carrying the weight of that knowledge forever. The humans were not monsters. They were not evil. They were survivors who had learned warfare as a language, spoken it fluently, and were now trying to learn the language of peace. Kex hoped the coalition would give them that chance, because he had seen the alternative, and it had ended in 17 days.